Hey guys, Frank here, your virtual general aviation aviator, and today I am in the Thranda Beaver, the DHC-2 Beaver, and this particular video won't be in 4K. This time I decided to try a slightly different resolution just to see how the video comes out. Excuse me. Anyway, so this is the custom livery that I have developed for this aircraft. The tail number I think is 292 Tango Whiskey. Um, and we are at Churchill Falls. Got the film crew with me. We just landed and took a bathroom break. They have climbed back on board and we are taking off, believe it or not, directly from the taxiway. We are on taxiway 13 and our plan is to fly to Goose Bay. Which is Charlie Yankee Yankee Romeo is the I core code. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, I am going to do a cold and dark start. So the first thing I do is turn my fuel on. Let me go ahead and make sure I've got these guys on board. Let's see, I think I got three guys on board, and this, uh, let's I can get there faster. The guy in the seat behind me was 225, and the guy here, who I liken to having fast metabolism, is only 150. Um, One of those people who eat like a horse and just naturally small. Okay, let's go ahead and put some camera gear on here. We had some gear in the seats here, and some in this very back seat. So um, that's 4851 pounds, basically a gear. I guess I was adding gear here too, also a few pounds there. All right, so and I'm gonna save this configuration just in case it get moved. Anyway, so so we are heavy. As you can see, I hope you notice that I got plenty of fuel on board. All right, so let's wobble this guy up here. Let me move this so you can see what I'm doing. And I always go through this in case I have anybody new to the channel. Okay, so this is my fuel, and this aircraft does not have a fuel pump, so I have to pump it up manually. I pressurize the line, and I want to keep it in the green. If I over pressurize it, I run the risk of blowing the seals out and causing the fuel leak. All right, and the next thing I have to do is prime the engine. Get get the gas flowing through it, or get it primed. Actually, I can adjust my sound. I'm used to hearing sound, and when I don't hear that primer, that's when I realize that the sound need adjusting. All right, so let's do it again. And I hope you guys can hear that. Let me turn my volume up. All right, so let's try it again. All right, I can hear it now. I'm listening through my speakers rather than my headset. And what I want to do is get the prime in this green here. And this guy right here, I got it up temporarily. But when I turn the mags on and start firing my engine, then you should see the firing order. And I think it's such a cool animation that every time I start this engine, I tend to play it, just get a kick out of it. So I think I've got it primed far enough now. And let me make sure that this guy is locked. There we go. All right. And let's go mixture 4. And what is my outside temperature? I thought I had an outside temperature gauge somewhere nearby. These are my wing tanks here, incidentally. Um, I guess I could have sworn I put an outside temperature gauge on here. So let's do that right quick so that you can see how versatile this guy is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to layout. I'm going to enable the 3D panel edit mode, and I can now go to individual instruments, and I'm looking for a um, a thermometer. So I'm scrolling through ELT, transponder, clock switches, ADF, radio suction, instruments, turn coordinator, airspeed combo, suction stall, intercom, autopilot, radio master, GTN, altitude, angle of attack. I should put the angle of attack um, here. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and turn. Well, it's already turned on. So, yeah, I think I got it there. Let's drop it right here. All right. I kind of like that angle of attack thing. VOR, VOR2, gear advisory. So I didn't see the the um, the air temperature in the thing. I'm going back. I'm scrolling back down just a little bit slower, just in case I ran through it. These types of things is what tend to add so much time to my videos, but it is what it is. Still in um, CHT, still on the head temperature. Let's see. That's not it. Vertical speed. I don't even see an outside air temperature indicator. So maybe that's why I never added one. Um, in any case, I guess we would need to get it from the. Let me go back here and set things back the way they were. All right, and that should be good now. Okay, um, and let me make sure my master volume is turned up. Okay. Let's see, livery general. I think everything else is the way I want it. I will get rid of this as soon as I crank the start the aircraft. All right, so my pressure probably went back down by now. I see my prime is still holding. So let me wobble this back up. And the reason I use the verb wobble is because this guy is called the wobbler. All right, so fuel line is pressurized and brake is set. Fuel valve is open, mixture is full rich, and let's clear our prop, make sure nobody's out there, and prop clear, and beacon light, let's get that on. Okay, beacon light is on, and master is on. All right, I think we're ready to start cranking this guy. May take a couple times before I can get it started. All right, so max on both. Crack this guy here. Okay, very good. I got a good start. All right, I want to get the RPMs up to around five or 600 with this big radio engine. I don't want to crank it really. I don't want to race this engine. It's just not until it gets up to operating temperature. That's just not good for it. All right, so we are done with this guy. So let's get rid of it. And yeah, so okay. So let's go ahead and turn our alternator on. Let's go over here and come down here so you guys can see. All right, alternator comes on, and let's go ahead and turn on our master avionics. Okay, you see my GPS is coming alive, and I don't intend to really use GPSs on this flight, even though I have it. I flew in on the SMS Soulmate Sim Beaver, and the radio stack is as basic as it can get. And because I didn't have GPS, I missed the turn at the fork of the river and wound up at Churchill Falls when my original destination was Goose Bay Airport, and this crew is need to get to Goose Bay ASAP. Maybe they can still connect with David A, who's an outdoorsman who's canoeing in who's canoeing in from various places. But he's canoeing in to Otter Goose Creek, and the film crew job is to document this because they are part of a documentary series team who document people doing outdoors adventures, especially during the wintertime in the Canadian north, where it's really can be life-threatening cold. And so David A keeps camping gear on his canoe, and he canoe the backwaters. He'll stop camp and just spend weeks and months out there. In fact, David A is actually a fictitious character, but there is a gentleman who do something similar in real life. And just in case you are interested, I'm going to drop a link in the notes below. If you're interested in checking out his channel, just click show more, and the notes to this show will come up with the links in them. All right, so let's go ahead and drop some flaps in for takeoff. And what I'm kind of sitting here doing a lot of talking, but there's a method to my madness, guys. What I'm really trying to do is get my temperatures up. Now I need my cylinder head temperature to be at least 100 degrees Celsius. So it's coming up, but I needed to get right here on this red tick. My engine operating temperature has come up into the green. The ore will come up when I apply throttle. In fact, I think I'm warm enough now to actually give it a little bit more throttle. And let me turn down the engine a little bit. In fact, let me just go ahead and put my headset on, and that will mute some of this engine noise that you guys may have been hearing. All right, and let's see. Now I mentioned that my goal is to fly, not using the GPS, but the ADF. I do know that the frequency for the ADF is 257, and let's just confirm that. Let's see here. Yep, we'll confirm that by pulling this guy over. If it doesn't want to, oh, there we go. I was about to say it doesn't want to come over. Why is that so small? I'll tell you what, that may need some adjusting there. So, yeah, I think that's what it was. I think maybe because I changed the resolution is the reason that I may be having to adjust this. But anyway, so let's see. I was looking for the frequency. Let's see. Dimension, surface, runway heading, approach lights. Okay. Taxiway information, uncontrolled, and fuel. I'm looking for the radio information, and why am I missing that? Okay, airport communications, that's what I'm looking for. I looked all over it. Okay, and for some reason I was thinking I'd find the ADF frequency there. Gee whiz. I don't see it, but I tell you where I normally get it from, which is why I don't see it. I normally get it from here. So the code is, the frequency is 257. The code is Yankee Romeo, and it's referred to as Goose. Okay, and it does have the what do you call it? The Morse code to confirm that you got the right one. It would go do 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 do. So that's my attempt at manual Morse code, and as you can see, it looked like it's probably about a mile from the field. All right, a mile northeast from the field. Okay, so let's get the aircraft back up, and now let's see. Operate. Yep. So we are good to take off now. Our cylinder head temperature is at operating. Okay. So I think we've got this guy configured to take off. Let's do some lights here. So our landing lights can come on, as well as our strobes, and it's a beautiful day, so I don't think we need navs. All right, and I don't know what the, let's see if I can find that. Let's see. Let me just pull Sky Vector back over to my second monitor so I can refer to it. Okay, ATIS. I can't get a ATIS. So let's go ahead and get ATIS for this airport. Um, Actually, Churchill Falls does not give me an ATIS. So, so yeah, um, I can pull it back up. The field elevation for 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 this airport is, well, I got a AWAS. I can, let's try. Let's see if the AWAS is available, which is 11895.
Churchill Falls weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 11, dew point -15. Altimeter 2992.
2992.
Churchill Falls weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 11, dew point -15. Altimeter 2992.
And 1442 is what I'm seeing on the the airport um, chart. Okay, the airport field chart. Oh man, can't think of what this thing is called. Um, but in any case, yeah. So let's take off. I tell you what, one more thing that I want to do, housekeeping thing, and that is turn on, let's see, let me check and see what real weather look like, because I may go to real weather. Let me go here first and see if it's worth taking a look at. Yeah, so I may do real weather as long as it's pretty. Yep, no clouds. So yeah, uh, done. And so I can load this guy. I know you guys can't see that, but I'm loading FS Global real weather, and let that load up. And let's get airborne. I can do the rest of the stuff in the air. All right, so let me pull it back. And all right, take the release the brake. Now, I've got a heavy load, and most of the weight is on my left side, so the airplane may want to yaw a little bit. Wheels up. All right. Nice takeoff here. Bring in a few of these flaps. And I want a heading of about 118. So let's dial that in here. It's wrong. Okay. Let's say 118. I do have an autopilot on here that I am going to use a little bit. Okay, I'm at 2,500. That's my cruise. So I'm pulling this guy back to 30. I mean 20. And then this guy, the manifold to 30 is what I want. Try to get back down to 25 and hold my course. Okay, so I got 257 here. And I may set the autopilot just to hold my altitude. I'm to be honest with you guys, I've never used the ADF radio in this particular aircraft, so I'm hoping I don't get any surprises with it. And I'm not sure whether it's tied to this guy here, this OBS, or this OBS here. So some of this may be trial and error on my behalf. Okay, so 20 and 30 mixture doesn't really need leaning at this altitude, but I'm gonna lean it just a touch. Like I'm in a slight slip. Let me fly the plane. Right? Aviate, navigate, and communicate in that order. Sometimes it looks like I'm not doing a good job at any of it. So for VFR aviation, what I tend to want to do is pick a spot out on the horizon and fly to it. Okay, so there's a spot right here. I'm gonna fly to that, and that way I don't have to keep looking down at my instrument, at my head indicator to make sure I'm going in the right direction. What I am concerned about is my horizontal trims. So that's what I'm hoping to get straightened out here. So I thought I was flying to this one. Maybe it was this one that I should be flying to, because I do want okay, so now I'm going to transition and fly to this dark spot, look like a hill, and also try to get back up to altitude. And I guess I pretty much have straightened out the horizontal hill. My feet are not on the rudder pedals, and I'm dancing with them a little bit, see if adding a little rudder manually did anything, but I guess I'm good. All right, and let me turn the yoke on. I guess that if I turned it on, you can get to see me making adjustments somewhat. I know it's really hard to see the pitch adjustments that I'm making. Okay. So with that said, what I want to do now is see if I can't get this DME to work. So since I do have autopilot, I am going to make use of it. So I'm going to turn my autopilot on. And I'm going to turn my heading on. And I got the Bravo yoke, so I'm able to use that. Now I'm also engage my altitude, so I fly this head and hold this altitude, and I don't have to make these micro adjustments. The aircraft will do it itself. All right. Now I'm just curious. I wonder if in real life does the aircraft, when the autopilot is flying it, can you see it making adjustments on the yoke, or whether that's happening and the yoke is stationary? I just wonder, because I know some aircraft you can see the yoke. I actually do have in some flaps, so I can take those out and build up some extra speed. And should see my trim working working really hard. Well, I thought you would see it. I guess it got it trimmed back to 25 before I could get it tuned in. But I did check that the trim does turn when it's being adjusted by the autopilot. Okay. Now, let's get over here. Great. And let's turn on the tone. Let's turn the ADF on. And let's put it on test. I would imagine for the test, I should hear a tone. Not sure about that. But I'm gonna go back to ADF and see if I get anything here on the DME. Let me go to the DME. Make sure that's turned on. So that needs to go here. And let's see. Okay, come alive, y'all. I don't know what the writing says about that. So this says knots, I guess. Minimums off. Okay, not sure. And okay, this is the dimmer. Dim it. Okay. And again, I don't normally fly with the DME. Let's run the test. Hit the test button. Or the ADF, and for distance I usually use the GPS. Okay, now I'm thinking that these guys are tied together. Let's see, so I do know the frequency. I tell you what, the frequency for Churchill I do know is 233, so let's dial that in. And flip it over, because I should be close enough to Churchill to see something change, right? Alright, I got it on test maybe, so let's counter off, antenna, ADF. Okay, so I got it in ADF mode. I can see the little tick there. And the tone is on, and right now I got it tuned 233. That should be Churchill. I should be close enough to Churchill to pick up the signal. And okay, so somewhere along the line, I bet it's. Let's go to utilities here. And let's pop this out. It's not popping out. Pop it out here. Call the thing, that's the GTN. Pop out one more. Pop it out either. Alright, so I guess we won't pop it out, but we can do this. Apologies on these buttons, guys. Alright, so we can do this. Go to it like this. Alright. That was utility system. that was set up. See, I don't know what I'm doing. So I want to act like I do, but I don't. So let's just get out of here. And that was set up. I did set up and external LRUs. Don't know what LRU is. Some sort of unit. Okay. So if I can't get this to work, then I guess I won't be able to use it. And turn up the gain, which I'm sure that's not going to make any difference. So maybe there's something somewhere that says use the let's see. Okay, maybe that's what we needed, right? Okay, maybe we're getting there. But this is just for testing for the tone. For that Morse code. And if it was tuned to ADF, I should be hearing that Morse, get it out, that Morse, that code. This stack here does not have an ADF building to it. And so I got, yeah. So, not sure how to get the ADF to work. Let's make this 257 again. And flip it back. All right, so let's see if I can't get the GPS to fly to tune to the ADF. Let's go to flight plan. And let's add the, let's bring up the destination, Goose Bay. All right. Enter. And let's go try waypoint information, info. Frequencies. Find. Search. CYYR. There we go. That's what I want. Goose. Okay. Getting somewhere. Frequency 257, which yeah, that's 0.0. I'm sure that ain't why I'm not getting anything, but anyway, try this again. Did I hit to get that? 7. The course is 115. Alright, so now can I do a direct to? Let's go direct to. Waypoint. Alright, activate. Alright, so I didn't want to. I didn't want to use a map, but let's take the map up now. This is working, and 110, is that my speed? Yep. This is my speed in knots, 110. 97 nautical miles from there. And let's just check the speed. Slow down and see. Yep. So that was definitely the speed. Alright, let's get this back, set back to 30. The manifold pressure. Alright. And it sucks that I can't get this to work. I might check in with the developer. Just wish I had a way to communicate with them without using explain.org. It's a long story with explain.org, but I can't. Every time I post, all my posts have going forward have to be approved by a moderator, simply because I was in a forum and I was saying that explain.org could do a better job with user ratings in the store so that users could better figure out which aircraft which developers are produce sloppy work or incomplete work. And I think sloppy and incomplete, let's see, what terms did I use? I know I used the word sloppy and unfinished, or partially finished, or something like that. But suffice it to say that I have bought aircraft from explain.org from developers who never really finished developing the aircraft, and I don't mind naming names. I bought the Carbon Cub from Big Tower Production, and it was not finished, and he stopped supporting it on the website. And I bought the Citation Mustang, and it just had some bugs in it that the community kept asking the developer, RWD, I think that was Rob Wilson Designs, to smash those bugs. And he mentioned that he had been sick, was sick, and therefore he just stopped supporting the aircraft, which in his case, you know, if he's sick, I can understand that, but it would, you know, it would be nice if he would just say, hey guys, you know, I can no longer support this. I'm sick, and you know, if you guys want to step in and make tweaks, then by all means go for it. But nobody can really offer any real tweaks without, well, I ain't gonna say can. People don't want to offer any real tweaks without stepping on without his permission for fear of copyright infringement. But fortunately, there are some guys who have made some tweaks to the carbon cub, and a lot of their tweaks have fixed some of the stuff that was wrong with the plane. And as far as I know, the developer never complained about the tweaks that they were making. Of course, they didn't make any tweaks where you could get the aircraft free, so you still would have to buy the aircraft. But you know, the problem with that, and this is the point that I was making in the forum before I got sanctioned, is that when people, you know, if one of you guys were to buy either one of those aircraft right now, you would pay full price, and unless you know how to peruse the forums to see what kind of support is available, you would think you were buying a supported product. And again, I think explain.org can do a better job of supporting that story. In fact, don't be surprised. This is the last thing I'm going to say about it in this video. But don't be surprised if I don't do a talking head video on that very subject, because it's really something that I'm passionate about after being banned. Anyway, enough said. All right. So I can tell that trim is working. Look at my this angle of attack indicator. So when I see this yellow light here go on, I wonder if I see the trim light there go on. I guess we can force it to go on. Let's put some back pressure on the yoke. Okay, so I got trim out here, right? So, and you should see this guy. Yeah, so you can see it turning. I know it's hard to see it turning, but you should be able to see it turning now. So I love when the developers actually model the animations. Let's check our gas on our front fuel tank. Okay, let's see where we are. Okay, so in real life, I probably would look at my watch, time it for another 5 minutes, and then turn to my rear tank. But what I'm actually going to do is let that tank run dry, and the engine will die. One thing about these radio engines is the windmilling the windmilling effect of the prop will cause it to fire right back up as soon as I change tanks. Okay. In fact, these big radio engines, they used to crank them by getting somebody out there to spin that prop manually. Some of those early late WW1 radio engine aircraft, you see the pilots out there spinning the prop. Of course, they hadn't developed reliable starters, or the engines were so weak that it was just hard to carry a starter. I do have fuel in the wing tanks, and I think the way this this system worked for gas on the Beaver with the wing tank, with the outside wing tanks. But I do have fuel in the outside wing tanks that I can turn on. But I think the way it works is that fuel, I have to use the fuel I can't use the fuel in the outside tanks until I've depleted the fuel in the main wing tanks. I'm not sure how to get the fuel from the belly. You saw me move this lever here, and I'm not sure what this lever does, to be honest with you. I really am not. I moved it thinking maybe it will lock the tail wheel, but I'm not even sure that the Beaver has a tail wheel lock. So, live and learn. I'm still flying the heading. At least I thought I was flying the heading. Let's see something. Oh yeah, I think when I did that outside view, I may have turned the autopilot off, and I did. There's no autopilot here, so let's get that turned back on. Let's get the head turned back on, and let's reset the altitude, and get back on course here. Okay, and that reminds me, I should be able to fly the ADF course at this point. Let's see, but that's not lining up. That's not lining up, because well, I'm not sure. I guess the GPS is flying a direct path to the ADF, so it's not using any ADF radios. It's actually using GPS navigation if I were to switch to nav, which turn the nav on and go ahead and switch it to nav. Should track that magenta line. See that it's flying toward it. I'm trying to pop this guy out. I see when I pop it, it shows up in the upper corner and then it goes away. I'm not sure what's going on with it. But I can tell you, doing that just tore up my frames. Look at my frames are down to 11. All right, I must have just turned it back off, because now it's back up to 38. Go figure. So until I get that figured out, I will not be popping out the GPS. And since I'm on autopilot, I don't really need. Okay, so there is my, what do you call it, my fuel. So let's just change tanks, and with that prop windmilling, it should come right back alive, even though the prop stopped. I guess I waited too late and let the prop stop. So let's just starter. But I promise you, if I had got to it before the prop stopped, it would have been fine. All right, autopilot re-engaged. And I guess it was stalling because the autopilot automatically disengaged. Let's get some speed up. Okay, autopilot re-engage. And hopefully it remembered what my cruise altitude was. We hit out to engage it. I don't think it remembered, but I set it manually. Beautiful day in Canada. All right, I should turn. I see some clouds. Let me go ahead and get my pitot heat turned on. Okay. And let me go ahead and re-on the nav. And let's see what happens. Let's see what our DME is. 70 miles, well, 69.5. I've got a tendency to just round, so something is funny because I can look at 69.5 automatically. I know that's 70 rounded, you know, basic, but somebody said left, right. I literally have to work out which is my right side versus my left side. I don't get it, but it is what it is, right? Okay, so I'm on that rear tank. And I have noticed that I burn fuel a lot faster in the Thranda version of the Beaver than I do the SMS version of the Beaver. I really haven't done a head-to-head comparison, but based on how quickly I tend to run out of gas, it looks like that when I'm flying the Thranda version, based on how quickly I can burn up the gas in that front tank, it just feels like I'm burning gas faster. If you guys have experienced, if you guys who own both versions experience the same thing, let me know in the comments. Okay, so there are 2 games that you guys can play when your friends come over, when you're watching my videos. To see who gets drunk quicker. Game number 1 is every time you hear me say go ahead, uh, which is often pronounced gore, um, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, yeah, not gore, but go ahead rather than go ahead. Um, but every time you hear me say go ahead or go ahead, then that means take a drink. And the other way is every time you hear me say so or and, take a drink. I I'm been working trying to limit the number of times I say because I've got some videos where I've said it enough times to annoy my own self. I am within 30 miles of this. No, I'm not. It says 63 nautical miles, but this this outer ring in the United States generally is a 30-mile radius from the airport. 30 mile, yeah, 30 miles from the airport. Once you get to it, maybe it's different in Canada. I don't know, but hey, anyway, and I almost said so, but I definitely say go ahead a lot, and especially when I'm actually performing things and telling you guys what I'm gonna do. If I want to change fuel tanks, I'm gonna go ahead and change to my center tank. Go ahead and pull the prop back, and and then the arms, not the arms, but the ends. I tell you, if y'all did all four, go ahead, arm, and so, then you guys will get drunk quick. I don't drink, but if you decide that you want to make a game out of it, then hey, go for it. Especially if you got some aviation buddies who also enjoy watching videos. Invite them over. Say, I'm going to watch one of Virtual General Aviation's videos, one of Frank's videos with you guys with this 6-pack, 12-pack case of beer and or whatever spirits that you want crossing your tongue. Make a game of it. Oh man, it's so hard not to say and. So I am gonna play a game right now, guys. I'm gonna see how long I can go without saying so, go ahead, and I am gonna stick with my ends. I gotta have at least one of them. And I do tend to need something to join my sentences. So, yeah, so again, by the time turn off my autopilot, let's get that back going. And navs. And once I get the nav set up, I am going to change the heading. Once I get nav set up, I'll change the heading to the track that nav is set to. And this will probably be the only time that I try to limit my go aheads, arms, and souls because I know I'm not going to be any good at it in reality. I haven't given you guys an outside view this whole flight except for looking at the aircraft on the tarmac. Now I got to think about starting the sentence without the word so. Without using the word so, it's tough starting a sentence. What I want to do now is see what my distance is, and I got a message on the on this GPS. What is it? Arriving waypoint. Shouldn't be arriving to any waypoint. I'll tell you what we'll do. We will put Goose Creek in here. Now, I am spending all of this time doing just enjoying the flight and doing stuff that doesn't really make any difference in the outcome of the flight. See, what is Goose Creek? CYYR. I think that's what it was. And what I need to be doing is pulling up the chart and determining how I'm going to come in to Goose Bay. Still got a arriving waypoint. Oh well, I can live with that. What I did do is I downloaded a towel for Goose Bay, a ortho towel. So at some point, our scenery should get a lot more realistic looking. Right now, take a drink. Right now, what you've got is default scenery. Everything is in the green. I'm on that rear tank, and looks like I ought to have enough fuel to get to our destination without having to switch to the middle tank. But I will switch to the middle tank on landing because I want to land on the tank, on a tank, on the fullest tank. You guys saw when I added the the angle of attack to the aircraft, I may pull off this. I may wind up pulling off this DME, not DME, this ADF radio if I can't get it to work, or it may be that I just can't get it to work while I've got the GTN installed. So I may do another panel, do some experimenting and do another panel, remove the GTN and see if I can't get the ADF to work. So it could be the GTN plug-in because it didn't actually come with the aircraft. That may be interfering with the ADF radio. So what do we have in here? That little storage compartment. Ah, but it's empty. Get somebody to put something in it. All right, let's get a view out of the window here. So the back country of Canada, I honestly don't know if the country is really, I don't think the country is really this desolate in real life. Um, X-Plane does a great job with terrain, roads, and lakes. Trees, that's another story. If I've got I think I've got a plug-in that may be adding a few extra trees to my terrain. Surprised I haven't crossed into that tile yet. Um, I'm hoping that I have, but once I have crossed into that tile, then I may be able to see objects or rooftops covered with trees on top that would indicate where buildings would be in real life. But usually crossing into that tile, well, I'm so close to the airport that have had to cross into that tile. In fact, I think I can actually see the airport now. Um, 36 nautical miles. Now I can't see 36 nautical miles ahead. I was seeing that, and but in another flight that I didn't record, I actually flew. I actually checked to make sure that that towel was actually alive or working, and it was. Got some clouds building in up there. So I am so looking, guys, to the next version of X-Plane, I, I, as you guys know, I really have not come on board with Microsoft Flight Simulator yet. Um, I'm expecting X-Plane, the next generation of X-Plane, to be awesome. I don't expect it to be as visually compelling as Microsoft Flight Simulator, but stuff like clouds and hopefully we would get some moving clouds. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but something that you don't see in X-Plane are moving clouds. They tend to always be stationary. So 32 miles out. Let's go ahead and go ahead. Let's get our let's get our what am I trying to say? I want to say something. I want to pull up the I want to pop the GPS out, but it won't pop out. So um, let's take a look at the airport information. Um, let's go to nearest airport. Let's get our ADAS.
Goose Bay information Foxtrot.
Foxtrot.
1500 Zulu weather. Wind 290 at 9. Visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 5500 view. Temperature -14. Dew point -21. Altimeter 2991. Arriving runway 26. Departing runway 26. Advise on initial contact you have Foxtrot.
Two six. Foxtrot 2991 winds 290 at 9. So so if we fly to the ADF, the ADF station, then why, why does that sound wrong? ADF station. Anyway, if we fly there and turn around there and make our approach from there, then that will put us directly on 26. And also, what kind of entry are we gonna have? Let's go here. So if tower gives us, well, what we actually would do is probably left traffic, right? So probably what we want to do is fly to this river, fly left downwind. No, you don't enter the pattern that way, not unless we fly. Let's see where are we? Okay, so if we fly, if we fly to this river, one thing that's confusing on this plane that you gotta remember is that the heading on most every aircraft I fly is on the right side here, but it's on the left on this aircraft. Um, at least with this instrument panel. Okay, so what I want to do for my approach is stay just inside these hills. So I'm gonna take the river. I want to follow this river to the let's see, north is not up yet. Zoom in to get north up. I guess north is up. That's north up. I should tell it to keep north up, but anyway. So I want to fly east. Once I get to this river, I want to turn to the east and follow this river in past the, let's see, if I stay on this side of the river, then when I get to this point, I come in on the 45, join the pattern, and just make a pattern entry for 26 on the left downwind. So that's the plan. So I got the river in sight, and I am gonna, there it is again, I am switching, well, I don't know how to say it, because like I say, I'm planning to, but that's just word substitution. I do want to tell you what I'm planning to do. Is it more grammatical correct to just say I am switching to switching off the autopilot? I mean, I could use some word substitution, just simply say I plan to switch off the autopilot, but I am going to switch off the autopilot. So, hey, take a drink. All right. How am I looking on fuel? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead. Yep, I said it. And switch to the center tank now for fear that I may forget to do so later. if I was smart, I would have considered switching to the fuller tank when I made the glumps check. Um, and I'm probably close enough to go ahead and just run through glumps in my mind. Gas lights, undercarriage mixture props, seat belts, systems. Now this is a carbureted aircraft, and I do have carb heat. The way carb heat work on the Beaver is you apply it during approach uh, to make sure that all the ice is melted. Okay, the aircraft is mine. And once you you turn it back off for landing, just in case you have to go around. I know some aircraft you can. Well, I don't know. I'm thinking of the Cessna, and I don't think it's a big it's a big deal on that Cessna to take off on a touch and go with the carb heat still on. Um, of course, you should turn it off, but the Cessna is so forgiving. I actually wanted to see what was below me, and I lost most of my altitude, so I just climbed back up to 2.5. And like I said, I want to stay on this side of the river. There's the hills that I saw on the map. And I'm not going to make any radio calls. Okay, so you can see what difference, well, maybe you can see some of the differences the towels have made. Um, this is the towel. See how the the shorelines doesn't have any sharp edges in it, and like I'm pretty sure that would be a building. And of course, these are buildings here and cars that's just caught in the satellite image. I think there were some clouds that I saw, some low, like I think these were low clouds that were caught in the satellite image. And so since these are satellite images, you can see how forested this area really is. There's my airport up here, I think. I think that's, could, I think it's, yeah, is that it? Yeah, that's it. I can, I can see the lights, the rabbit lights. All right, so airport elevation. Shoot, I don't remember what the elevation is. There is 160 feet. So 1,600 feet is a good pattern altitude. So let's get down the pattern. And this is that hill. This is where I said I was going to fly about right here, and then get to right here, and then I enter the pattern on the 45. All right, glumps. Gas, fullest tank check. Lights. So let's get our landing lights on. They're still on. Never turn them off. Strobes are on. And let's go ahead and turn our navs on. Don't really need them, but it doesn't hurt. And let's get back up to pattern. I think pattern was 1,600. No, not 1,600. 1,000. Actually, 1,100. Okay. And let's go ahead and make this turn to the airport. Actually, I need to find the airport because I'm making a turn to the airport, and honestly, I don't even know where the airport is at. Where are you? I didn't go that far past you. Shoot. Find the airport. I don't think I would have this problem, keeping this much of a problem, keeping my eye on the airport in real life. But I definitely lost it. Actually, I got this GPS. Why not use it? Okay. The airport should be off my nose. Yeah, I see it now. All right, and that's my Yeah. So this is the runway that I want to do the downwind to. All right, so I did a 360, but I do need to get back up to altitude. Oh, no. I keep thinking that the pattern is 16 and actually need 11. Actually, yeah, I can do 12. 12 is a good number. I could round the, well, 11, let's see, 1160 would be technically 1,000 feet. All right, so I'm on my downwind. All right, let's get this view back and get back on glumps. Gas, lights, undercarriage, mixture, prop, and some flaps, and we've entered our downwind leg. And I think I want about 80 on the approach. I can actually keep my speed up on downwind here until I get till I call mid-fill. Then I configure for a beam. And let me turn my thing on so that my yoke on so that you can kind of follow what I'm doing here. There's my runway. I'm out far enough to do a decent base turn. Usually I find myself so close that I wind up having to do a circling base turn, and I be so close in, I don't give myself an opportunity to look out the window. Okay, so I'm a beam. All right. A few more flaps in. And might even see if I were to look hard enough, I might even see the station for the ADF. Wonder if that's it down there somewhere. That might be, well, can't really tell. All right, so let's go ahead and turn base. And runway is 26. All right. So let's see. the okay. So I'm thinking that this is the runway here. Can't really see in the rabbit lights, um, but speed look good. Okay, I see the rabbit lights now. Don't want to get too low. A little bit more flaps. Get lined up here. And I need to be able to see my vertical speed indicator here. Clear to land. 292 Tango Whiskey. Now, if I can just set her down without ground looping. All right. 4 flaps. Didn't butter it. And it didn't ground loop. Cool beans. You know, because I really concentrated on doing on nailing that approach that time. Oftentimes I come in too hot, and with these tail draggers, if you don't nail that approach, you will ground loop. And now, even in real life, pilots do this. They do. If you ever saw the movie Hunt for Red October, you have to do these crazy Ivans to see the runway. I don't want to nose over. All right. So I'm on the ground. Okay, film crew. You guys are finally here. Let's get this bad boy cleaned up. And I am not going to worry about trying to set the trim because Oh, yeah, I can. There we go. Nose up. All right. Uh, I got nose up. Should it be set to 0 for takeoff? Yep. There we go. All right. And strobes can come off. Nav lights can come off. And landing lights stay on. Because it doubles for taxi. And we will go over here to these hangars. If you see me do this, it's oftentimes I be trying to get some wash behind that prop. I mean, but behind that tail rudder to to give me some directional control. All right, so uh, let's imagine that their their ride to Goose out of Goose Creek is there. Um, I didn't. I could have flown them directly to Otter Goose Creek, but I didn't fly the seaplane, the float version, the amphibious version of this aircraft. All right, brakes. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't apply that carb heat. Um, didn't apply carb heat. All right, so this flight is done. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. And we got a game that you can use now. In fact, if you start one of my videos from the beginning, by the end of it, you ought to be drunk. I mean, somebody might need to carry you to the bed. All right, so I enjoyed it. Y'all come back. You hear? Ciao.